All right, let's jump right in. Welcome to this explainer. Back in July 2026, the tech landscape experienced an absolutely seismic shift, and today we're going to unpack exactly what happened. We're moving past all those fragmented news updates to map out a clear, cohesive visual narrative of an ecosystem that has fundamentally evolved. If you've been following the space at all, you already know the days of a simple little chat bubble waiting for your text prompt. Yeah, those are fading fast. What we're witnessing right now is the rapid transition from passive software to active, autonomous digital agents. We're going to trace that entire evolutionary arc today, connecting the dots from the core logic brain to the sensory inputs, all the way to the mechanical hands that are literally executing complex tasks on our behalf.
So to really grasp the magnitude of this shift, we kind of have to tune out the daily internet noise. Ignore the viral novelty videos, the endless courtroom drama, and those loud social media debates for just a second. What we actually have here is a highly condensed technology rollout that is actively rewiring the underlying infrastructure of the digital economy. We're fundamentally answering the most important question in tech right now: what happens when artificial intelligence stops merely chatting with us and actually starts doing the heavy lifting? This was the exact moment the industry pivoted away from conversational novelty and straight into genuine economic utility.
Section 1, the GPT 5.6 era begins.
Now, what's incredibly fascinating about this foundational upgrade is that OpenAI completely ditched the concept of a single monolithic bottleneck. The engine powering this massive shift, actually, scratch that, it's not just one engine. It's a highly specialized family of models named Sol, Terra, and Luna. And this architectural split, it's a total masterstroke for developers and enterprises. Instead of forcing every single query through one massive, expensive system, developers can now route tasks intelligently. Simple, everyday queries might hit the lightweight, hyper-fast model, while complex mathematical reasoning gets routed straight to the heavy compute powerhouse. It optimizes both cost and latency simultaneously, giving us this highly adaptable, multi-tiered foundation for everything else that gets built on top of it.
And really, this brilliantly illustrates a much deeper philosophical shift. We are looking at the death of the traditional prompt box. We're leaving behind a world where a human has to manually initiate every single interaction with a text command. This new model family isn't just sitting there waiting for a question. It acts as an always-on foundational brain. It processes continuous, complex, multimodal inputs natively. By pushing the baseline capabilities beyond basic text generation and straight into active computational reasoning, it preps the entire system to handle real-time sensory data and ultimately autonomous mechanical action. The brain is fully wired and ready for the next step.
Section 2, GPT-Live, the new voice.
So with the core logic brain established, the ecosystem immediately needed a sensory layer, right? GPT-Live acts as the true eyes and ears of this architecture. But what makes this so revolutionary isn't just the fact that it can speak, it's the underlying nuances, specifically temporal awareness. This is an absolute game changer for user experience. Temporal awareness means the AI finally understands the pacing of human thought. It knows when you're just taking a quick breath versus when you're actually finished speaking. It knows when it's being interrupted, and it gracefully pauses, adjusting its own rhythm to match yours. When you combine that contextual awareness with the ability to simultaneously analyze your visual environment, you completely cross the uncanny valley. You aren't talking to a machine anymore. You're engaging in a fluid, totally natural conversation.
When the official demonstration dropped with just a simple little caption saying, "You'll want to turn the sound on for this one," it racked up well over 114,000 views almost instantly. And the community reaction proved something profound. Keyboards are rapidly becoming legacy input devices. The friction of translating our complex thoughts into typed words is just being eliminated entirely. This sensory layer effectively renders manual data entry obsolete, paving the way for a future where we interact with our software the exact same way we interact with our own colleagues.
Section 3, ChatGPT Work and Agents.
But let's pause for a second and ask ourselves, what good is an incredible artificial brain, with its advanced eyes and ears, if it doesn't have the hands to actually do the work? This is where the visual narrative we're building today truly crystallizes. Enter ChatGPT Work. Powered by the coding capabilities of Codex running alongside GPT 5.6, the system transforms into a proactive, autonomous agent. We're talking about true agentic loops here. You can set it to execute an entire marketing workflow, run the necessary data analytics to check its own performance, and then publish the final assets completely independent of human sign-off. The AI is checking its own work, correcting its own errors, and executing the final steps, all by itself.
So the crucial point here is understanding the sheer gravity of computer use paired with app shots. This bridges that massive gap between cloud intelligence and local execution. The AI is basically given kernel-level access to navigate your operating system. It can take over the mouse, open your local design software, pull data from your desktop files, and execute actions right in your browser. It fundamentally changes the future of the graphical user interface. You no longer have to spend hours learning how to navigate complex software menus. The AI navigates the software for you, moving seamlessly across your local environment to get the exact outcome you asked for.
The tech community instantly recognized the economic implications of this. Reviewers didn't just call it a cool new tool, they literally declared it your new marketing agent. We've crossed the line from software as a service to a direct labor substitute. This is the ultimate digital employee. You aren't just paying for access to an application anymore. You're delegating intensive, time-consuming labor to a centralized system that can operate across all your platforms simultaneously. To put that into perspective, the amount of leverage this provides to a single individual is entirely unprecedented in human history.
Section 4, Images 2.0, the visual standard.
Now, running parallel to the audio processing and those autonomous computer operations is the visual output layer. Nearly 300,000 people tuned in live to watch the launch of ChatGPT Images 2.0. And to understand why this matters so much, you have to connect it back to those autonomous agents we were just talking about. These incredibly high-fidelity images aren't just standalone pieces of art. They are the exact visual assets that your AI marketing agent is going to generate, select, and publish within its own autonomous workflows.
Reviewers pushed the system to its absolute limits and basically confirmed that the previous heavyweights in the space had been completely dethroned. And the reason it takes the crown isn't just because the pictures look pretty. It comes down to flawless prompt adherence and perfect text rendering within the images themselves. Think about it. If an agent is running a business workflow, it absolutely cannot afford garbled text or hallucinated details in a marketing banner. Images 2.0 provides the perfect, reliable visual generation required to match the flawless logic of that GPT 5.6 brain. It's the final crucial piece of the puzzle for total automation.
Section 5. Real people, real AI.
Okay, let's step back and look at how this highly integrated map of brain, senses, and hands physically manifests in the real world. Take Hiroki, for example. He's a broccoli farmer. This isn't theoretical tech confined to a server room in Silicon Valley. This is an AI getting its hands dirty in one of our most traditional industries. The system isn't just giving Hiroki some generic agricultural advice, it's utilizing those computer use-style API connections to interface directly with local farm equipment, analyzing real-time soil data, and autonomously optimizing his crop yields. The brain is connected directly to the dirt.
And the true takeaway here is the absolute democratization of corporate infrastructure. Look at the Wishing Rat family, running a highly scalable cereal business right from their dining room table. Previously, executing logistics, supply chain analytics, and multi-channel marketing at this scale, that required a Fortune 500 budget and a massive human headcount. Now, that exact same operational leverage is available to a family sitting in their kitchen. The AI agents are handling the intensive back-end labor, allowing small, lean operations to compete on a massive global scale.
And just to bring it full circle back to that foundational model architecture we started with, we can look at the absolute highest levels of academia. While a family business might rely on the Terra model for everyday operations, tackling previously unsolvable mathematical proofs is exactly what that heavy compute Luna model was engineered for. It's proving its worth not just as a basic productivity tool, but as a genuine collaborative partner, pushing the absolute boundaries of human knowledge and scientific discovery. When over 202,000 concurrent viewers gathered to watch these autonomous systems take shape, it marked a very distinct cultural inflection point. The public wasn't just tuning in for another iterative software update, they were watching the public awakening to the agentic era. They're witnessing a fundamental shift in how humanity works, how we delegate labor, and how we interact with machines on a daily basis. The realization finally hit that the future of work had officially arrived. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative reality to confront, doesn't it? We've tracked the evolution from a passive text box to a system with eyes and ears to a fully autonomous agent with its hands on the keyboard. The speed of this evolution is staggering, and the intelligence is now deeply, deeply embedded in the execution layer. So now that this entire ecosystem can see, hear, reason, and independently take control of your computer to labor on your behalf, what are you going to build with it? Because it feels like the ceiling on human potential just completely vanished. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I highly recommend examining how these autonomous agents can instantly scale your own ambitions, and I'll see you next time.